Hello, it's the Coaster Craze. Sorry for that little delay. I was just setting up the live stream, and it is the end of summer 2019 live stream, something I like to do a bit annually, but I really want to thank you guys so much. Originally, I scheduled this because I reached 300 subscribers, but now I'm actually past 350, so that means so much to me. Thank you guys so much. I'm closer to 400 than 300. I think that's pretty sick. So just ask whatever questions you want, suggest videos you want to make. I'll let you guys know about some future videos coming up, and I also have a plan just in case there aren't as many questions of different things I want to talk about, starting with my just a little bit more detail about the parks I went to this past summer, along with talking about like what I'm going to for the rest of this year, maybe even next year, and some future video content like channel updates. And finally, I'm going to be talking about my thoughts on just the overall announcement season for the 2020 new attractions going to various parks across America and the world. Obviously, there's some more that haven't been announced yet, but let's get into it. So let's play one of my favorite summer songs. I'm going to take your vote for this. YouTube ads, of course. So I'm going to play a song just to get in the mood to start it off. So let's start by talking about some summer plans. So what did I do this past summer? So I actually went to a film program at Boston University. I went to a film program at Boston University for the entire month of July. So during that time, I did not go to a park. I wanted to go to Canopy Lake Park in New Hampshire, but was not able to during that time. Nevertheless, I did go to some parks over the summer. So I'm going to start with my first park I went to, which was Six Flags America, my home park. I went for a very fun visit where I went to the water park and the dry park in early July, shortly before going to the film program. It was a great time. Loved the water park. There was not too many lines, which was really nice to see. And I got a great ride on Firebird. That was the ride on Firebird where I realized how good it was because, well, it just in the back row, or I was in the second back row that time, it's so much better in the front. So I highly suggest that. I'm going to turn off that Bryan Adams. Hope you enjoy that. Anyway, moving on. So after that month, I then went to, on my way back home, I did that Six Flags double feature video where I went to two Six Flags parks in 2 days and two Six Flags days. And I didn't go for very long. They weren't the best visits I've had at either park by far. Canopy isn't that good. Well, I'm glad I didn't go then because I saw how much it cost. It was like $40-something. I thought that was very overpriced, especially considering that I got tickets to Kennywood for $32 a piece. So that's a far superior park. Glad to hear that Canopy isn't that great and that I didn't miss out on much. Anyway, so the first park I went to on my drive back from Boston to Maryland, where I live, was to Six Flags New England, a park that I first went to earlier this year in spring break. I went 2 days for like 2 half days. I only went a couple hours here, and it kind of got messed up. I rode Goliath, which was my last credit I needed there. That was terrible, but I was very glad to get the credit. It's a very unique coaster. There's not many in the world. And then I finally got my back row ride on Wicked Cyclone, which was my favorite ride I've had on the coaster. That was amazing. Then I was going to go in there River Rapids. I was going to want to go to the water park too, but there was some terrible thunderstorms that day. So I decided to do one of the indoor rides, the Houdini Great Escape, which was a fun ride. I did the same one at Great Adventure a couple years back, and then we headed out. Then the next day, Great Adventure was a pretty good time. The crowds were definitely pretty excessive, but I still got on some great coasters. I rode El Toro twice, once in the second row, once in the back row. It was a bit rougher than I remember, but I still enjoyed it. I also rode King the Cot in the front row for my first time, which was amazing. I loved King the Cot in the front row and I actually pushed it into my top 10 coasters for a very brief period, but it got kicked out by another coaster that I'll talk about very soon. Anyway, I rode Nitro once. It's great as always, and that was it. Just the big three and riding El Toro twice. Anyway, then later that week, I went to Hershey Park for my first time in 3 years, and that was an amazing time. The crowds were pretty big, and I got scared I wasn't going to get to go on anything, but thankfully, it was pretty well planned, and they were manageable, the crowds. So I got to go on pretty much all the rides I wanted to, and even got 2 rides on Skyrush and Storm Runner. And that ride that pushed King to Cot out of my top 10 was Storm Runner, and that was my number 10 coaster. but that got pushed out too later on this summer, which I'll talk about shortly. And that was a really fun visit. Skywars was amazing. Got bumped up a couple spots. Loved Lightning Racer. Fahrenheit wasn't as good as I remembered, but still very fun. Anyway, later that week, I went to Six Flags America for a fabulous visit. We were there for like 5 hours, and we got on a ton of rides, like 14 or 15 total. Did all the water park because we got there right when it opened. Firebird Black Row, amazing. Marathon Superman, sorta, 3 rides in a row, super fun. Wild One Roar, Joker's Jinx, all the best coasters at the park. Very good time. And that brings me to my most recent park visit, which was to Kennywood. This was the big new park for me for the summer of 2019, and it was an absolute blast. So this is my first time going there. I went this past weekend, and it was just such a fun park. It had a very unique aesthetic to it. My park experience video from that will be coming out very shortly, probably within the next week. And remember I was talking about that coaster that pushed Stormrunner out of my top 10? That was Fam's Revenge. That thing was amazing. It lived up to all my expectations. I absolutely loved Fam's Revenge. I thought the park was very beautiful, especially at night when all the rides were lit up. It felt such a classic amusement park, yet with big coasters that are pretty modern. Still current, I had to wait 2.5 hours for. Not fun, but still a very fun coaster. The wind coasters were underwhelming, but not bad. And Skyrocket was a very fun ride, although it was very, very weird. And one other park I forgot to mention I did go to very briefly. On the 4th of July, I was at Margate, New Jersey, on my way up to the Boston film program that I went to. That I spent the entire month of July at, like I talked about earlier. And so at Playland's Castaway Cove in Ocean City, New Jersey, I spent the 4th of July there for a couple hours, and I rode Gale Force, which was my first time since it got that retrack. A lot smoother, insanely intense, fun ride. And I got a new credit with Wild Waves, which had surprisingly intense ejector airtime and was really an excellent family coaster. Also rode the pirate ship. That was about it. So it was not a huge summer 2019, but it was really quality over quantity. Fun time. Be free to ask any questions you guys have. Anyway, so that wraps up that portion of this video. Moving on, I want to just briefly touch note on the parks I'll be going to later this year. There's not a ton, but of course, my home park, Six Flags America, I'll be hitting up a couple more times. I know at least once during Fright Fest because I have to pick up my 2020 passes before the end of that because the flash sale, of course, which was really awesome. Get good, cheap Six Flags season passes for the 2020 season, which I'm super excited for. And I'll probably go maybe once or twice during that time. In addition, I'm super excited. This is the big park that I'm super excited for that I think I'll be going to before the end of the year. And that would be Nickelodeon Universe at the American Dream Meadowlands in New Jersey. So it's right by my grandparents' house, which I go to a lot. And it's supposed to open October 25th. And it's supposed to open, the mall will open with the amusement park. I hope that's the case because I think I'm planning to go to New Jersey Thanksgiving. So the park will have been open for about a month. And I cannot wait. The crowds are probably going to be excessive, and it's probably going to be very expensive, but I'm super excited to hit up the Nickelodeon Universe at the American Dream Meadowlands. There's some really awesome coasters there, especially the clone of Takabisha. That looks so sick. I mean, it's going to be the steepest drop in the world. Looks like a good long ride. I can't wait to ride it. There's also like the tallest free spinning coaster, a bunch of awesome coasters that'll be new to me at the American Dream Meadowlands. So that's the big park I'm super stoked for the rest of 2019. Not sure what my 2020 plans are yet, but I'm hoping, fingers crossed, not sure if this is going to happen, that sometime in the fall I will be able to go to King's Dominion for a day. I haven't been in now 3 years since the fall of 2016. It was a fun time. It's a great park. I haven't done on Twisted Timbers, which I really want to ride. So that'll be a great end of 2019, those 3 parks I mentioned. And 2020, of course, will be the usual Six Flags America, where I can finally ride my first giant discovery, Harley Quinn Spinsanity. And, of course, Great Adventure, which is like my second home park. I go a couple times each year. I'll probably go for their Holly in the Park event later this year. And I cannot wait to ride Jersey Devil next year. That thing looks amazing. I haven't ridden a Raptor yet. It's the first one on the East Coast, and it's easily going to be the best Raptor. I can't wait for that. That's going to be an amazing addition. I'm so glad to see Great Adventure finally getting its due and finally getting an original coaster to the park for the first time since El Toro all the way back in 2006, I believe, which that'll be awesome to see a great new coaster added to the park. And then sometime next year, there's decent chance I'll probably go again to Six Flags New England, and not sure what else is going to happen because I'm actually going to be heading off to college. I'm going to my senior year of high school for the 2019-2020 school year. So then next year I'll be heading off to college. Not sure where yet. I'm doing applications, but that's going to be a big decider in what my next home park will be after Six Flags America. I'm very curious, and I hope it's near a good amusement park, whatever college I go to. Guys, feel free just to ask any questions, video suggestions you have. I'm curious to hear what you guys think. And so that pretty much wraps up my future plans. So I also want to touch on, before getting to my channel updates, I want to talk a little bit about the 2020 new rides that are coming. So I'm going to first talk about Cedar Fair. I did a Cedar Fair analysis video about all their new attractions, but overall, I think the year is better than last year, which was a particularly weak year, I think, but it's nowhere near like the best, like 2018 or anything. I'm hoping 2021's a bit better, but it's still cool to see Cedar Fair finally getting another Giga Coaster, going to Kings Island. It's going to be a bit shorter than the others, Orion. Nevertheless, it still looks super, super awesome. Then there's also going to be a kiddie coaster coming to Michigan's Adventure. Finally, they're getting something new, and it's a whole new area. There's a bunch of new water slide additions, which I think is kind of cool. And it seems like Cedar Fair is really investing in like all the parks, water parks, which I think is kind of cool. And pretty much every park is getting something new next year. I mean, there's no new ride coming like Cedar Point or Knott's Berry Farm or Valley Fair, but they're still getting new shows and festivals and stuff, which is nice to see. I think it's going to be a decent year for Cedar Fair. Six Flags, I think the same thing. I think this isn't as good as last year, actually, but it's still not a bad year by any means. It seems like every park is getting something that'll definitely improve the park, which I think is great, besides maybe the Green Lantern relocation to La Ronde, which honestly, that's La Ronde. Sorry if it's your home park, but they just don't seem to be getting anything good. At least they're getting something new. But I think all the parks are really going to be getting something to improve their lineup. The main coasters are going to be Jersey Devil, which I talked about earlier, going to Great Adventure. That's the big new one, and I can't wait to ride next year. I really hope it's as amazing as I think it's going to be. The other new coasters going to Six Flags parks are Sierra Sidewinder, I think it's called, or like Sidewinder Spin, something like that. And that is a Zamperla spinning coaster. Not going to be relocated Raging Cajun from Six Flags America. We're not losing that, thankfully. And that's a fun ride. That'll be a great fit at Discovery Kingdom because they need some family coasters. Plus, the other coaster going to Six Flags Park will be the Pulsar clone, which is a Mac Power Splash, and that will be going to Six Flags over Texas, which looks like a fun addition too. Not super intense or anything, but it's a good addition, and I'm very happy for my home park because we're getting an awesome one with the Zamperla Giant Discovery of Harley Quinn Spin Sanity. Looks like a great, great ride. And I mean, I've heard so many great things about them. I've never ridden a Frisbee, so I can't wait to ride one there. That'll be super, super cool. And the thing that I thought was the most interesting about the Six Flags announcements was the fact that they're getting those skyscraper rides. But these aren't going to be upcharge ones like at your local boardwalk park. And these are going to be higher capacity too. So that looks super cool. Gray Escape, it's going to be their biggest ride in the park. That's super awesome. And then St. Louis, who doesn't get that many good additions, this actually looks like a pretty good addition. So I'm happy with some of the smaller parks getting pretty good additions for Six Flags next year, which makes me happy. So what other change? SeaWorld. That's the one to talk about for 2020. And geez, they've only announced one new coaster, but we know that their 5 major parks are all getting roller coasters next year, which I think is awesome. Sesame Place, I don't think so. They just got Oscar's Wacky Taxi a couple years ago. They're not going to get a new coaster for a while. But, so we got Pantheon, which looks amazing. Probably going to be the second best, maybe third best new coaster in America next year. It really looks awesome. The next generation Intamin Blitz coasters that have been coming to Europe. I'm so excited to see it come to America. Hopefully, I can get out to Busch Gardens Williamsburg next year. I haven't been since 2012. That was the park that made me into an enthusiast with rides like Apollo's Chariot. That terrified me. And rides like Verbolten, that made me really happy and enjoyed it. So Pantheon does look really awesome. I did a full analysis on it. Like all the major new coasters next year, like Jersey Devil and Orion, I did analysis on them too. And then plus, we know that there's a GCI that's probably going to be about 100 feet tall going to SeaWorld San Antonio in 2020. And we don't know the layout or anything yet. They have teased it. I don't know when the announcement's going to be, just like I don't know when the other SeaWorld parks announcements are going to be. but that ride looks like it could be really cool. It's like a larger version of Invader at Busch Gardens Williamsburg, and it seems like every year an American, like one American park, will get a new wind coaster. Unfortunately, I wish there was more because it seems like more wind coasters are closing than opening, but at least it's a bigger one because usually it's been these smaller, like scale gravity group wind coasters, like Kentucky Flyer that went to Kentucky Kingdom in 2019. But it's great to see that it's going to be a full scale, probably going to be a really great wind coaster going to SeaWorld San Antonio. I'm hoping this is like Gold Striker level great. Like GCI can make some amazing coasters, and they're going full scale with this one. I cannot wait to see the full layout. It's going to be great, in my opinion. I think it could be one of the best new coasters in the world next year. I'm super excited to see that announcement. In addition, one we already know about a bit is the Mako B&M dive coaster that will be heading to SeaWorld San Diego in 2020. And that's kind of like leaked. We haven't gotten like the official announcement like to see like the full POV or anything, but we kind of know the basic layout. And it looks pretty good. It's going to be smaller, but it's going to have a decent amount of inversions, decent track length. It's not going to be a great ride, but it's going to be a fun ride. It's going to be a great big ride for the park. It's going to be their biggest coaster, maybe their best coaster. I don't know. Manta, the Mach Family launch coaster, looks a bit better, but I think that looks really cool, and I think it's going to be a great addition. I'm glad to see B&M getting these big new coasters in America next year because it's been a while since we've seen so many new B&M coasters in America. I already talked about Orion, which is, of course, a Giga coaster. That's massive. Mako, the dive coaster, and Candymonium, which I also did announce this on, and that's going to Hershey Park. I hope to go there next year and ride it. That looks like a really fun coaster. Not going to be the best thing ever, but B&M hypers are really great. And if it's anything like Mako, it's going to be an awesome ride. Layout looks cool. It'll be the second best coaster probably at Hershey Park. And they have so many great coasters. It's my favorite park. It's going to be awesome to see the park get even better. And then touching on the last SeaWorld park is, well, the last two actually, both the Florida parks. First, SeaWorld Orlando, which we really don't know what they're getting. There's a good chance it's going to be a launch coaster. We don't know if it's going to be family or thrill. We know they're getting a coaster by a teaser they put out, and it's going to probably replace the Wild Arctic Dark ride, which I did not enjoy, so I'm glad to see that go and replacing a coaster. But we don't know anything about it. They haven't put out an announcement. I'm really curious to see what's up with that. And what's probably going to be best new coaster of 2020, I'm calling it, is going to be that RMC Gwazi. We know it's going to be massive. It's going to be the tallest RMC hybrid in the world, and it's going to be 91-degree drop, so 1 degree steeper than Steel Bend, so it's going to be the steepest drop, probably going to be the fastest in the world. We don't know the full length, but it's probably going to be pretty long because it's combining both the line and tiger sides of Gwazi's layout, and I can't wait to see the full layout of it. They're doing construction. They're going. That purple track looks sick, and I cannot wait to see what it looks like because that will be an amazing coaster. And it'll just give me another reason to go back to Busch Gardens Tampa because since I went, they've added Tigress, and they'll add their new RMC Gwazi. Plus, when I went to Busch Gardens Tampa, Kumba was closed. So that'll be 3 awesome new coasters for me whenever I get back there. And so those are the 3 big chains getting new rides next year. I also want to mention that I didn't talk about it in the previous, like when I was talking about future park plans. But so since I'm graduating high school next year, instead of going to Ocean City, Maryland for senior week, like most of my classmates, me and a couple of friends are thinking we do a coaster road trip. So post suggestions down in the live chat. I live in Maryland, for reference, Central Maryland. So we're debating if we should do a Pennsylvania trip. We'd probably only hit about maybe 2 to 4 parks, but we're thinking if we should do like a Pennsylvania trip or go down south for like King's Dominion and Busch Gardens Williamsburg, maybe go even further south for like Dollywood and Carowinds. We're not sure, but we think it'll be a blast. And if I don't end up doing that, well, I'll go to Ocean City, Maryland for my first time, and that'll be some new coasters, even though there's not any great new parks there or anything. Not many people. Nope, there are not many people in this chat right now, but that's okay. We're going to keep on going because it's fun, and people will watch it in hindsight later on. Anyway, I'd love to see your guys' suggestions about, for me, doing a senior week trip with my friends where I go to a couple coasters, amusement parks, around like the area. I live in Central Maryland for reference point. So please, I'd really appreciate if you posted suggestions about what parks to go to, what trip to plan. We would be heading maybe to like a Pennsylvania trip where we hit up like Dorney, Knoebels, Hershey Park, etc. Maybe Great Adventure too. If we should do a southern trip where we go down to King's Dominion and Busch Gardens Williamsburg, or even further south, Dollywood, and Carowinds. For anyone that just came to the chat, I am graduating high school next year, and me and my friends, instead of going to senior week to Ocean State, Maryland, we're thinking about maybe we'll do a coaster road trip, a shorter one, but I think that would be really fun and a great way to wrap up high school. Anyway, moving on, I want to talk a little bit about some of the more of the 2020 announcements and what parks haven't made announcements yet. And I feel like I haven't seen a ton from like other countries. Like maybe it's just I have not looked enough, but it seems like China's always getting something good, and they'll get some new good rides next year, I'm sure. But it doesn't seem like there's many RMCs. Like for 2019, there's Zadra that opened up, there's Untamed that opened up, and there was Hakuje that opened up. A lot of great RMCs that opened up in 2019. The only new RMC we know about coming next year will be Jersey Devil. I hope there's some more announced. Probably no more in America, but maybe some foreign ones that'll be announced. I think that'd be really, really cool. And I'm sure Energyland is getting something new in 2020 because that park seems to get something new every year. It's kind of cool. I kind of like that with Energyland, yep. But I think 2020 is going to be a pretty good coaster year. I think it'll be maybe slightly better than 2019 because you have some really impressive roller coasters like Orion and RMC Gwazi especially. But it's not going to be like your 2018 or anything where you get Twisted Timbers, not Mystic Timbers, Twisted Timbers and Hang Time and Railblazer and Wonder Woman Golden Lasso Coaster, and of course Steel Vengeance, all out in America, plus a lot of great foreign coasters. Not every year is going to be the best year. And if you're in the chat right now, I'd be curious to hear what you think. What is the best year for roller coasters that has happened? Love to see your comments. And anyway, I thought it would be time to move on to some channel updates. So, school will be starting. I have school starting the day after Labor Day, which is in a couple days. So the uploads won't be nearly as regular as they have been. But nevertheless, I will still try to do at least twice a week doing some new coaster-related video. I think that'd be really, really fun. And just some teasers about some future ones coming up. My next video will probably be a POV video. I'm not going to say which one yet, but it's going to be at a boardwalk park because those big parks usually don't allow you to do POVs. I'm really excited for this one. I think this is going to be a really fun POV to watch because it's not a coaster people have been talking about at all. So look for that to drop very shortly. I already mentioned before my Kennywood Park experience video. This was the big new park I went to in the summer of 2019. I can't wait to share with you guys my experience. That was an awesome one, and it'll be really fun. Maybe a little bit long of a park experience video, but I think it's going to be a really entertaining one to see a new park for me. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Those are some future videos come out soon. Of course, I'll do analysis videos of all the announced new for 2020 like roller coasters. For example, the ones going to SeaWorld Orlando, the full RMC Gwazi once that's released, the GCI Woody going to SeaWorld San Antonio, and hopefully there will be like that small park in America that announces something big. Because it seems like every year there is that like one small park or a couple small parks in America that just wow you with a big announcement. Like that was Playland's Castaway Cove with Gale Force, ZDT's in Texas with Switchback Railway, the wooden shuttle coaster, which is the only one shuttle in the world right now. And I think there's just always a couple of those small parks that really impress me when they announce something big. And I think that's really cool. Hopefully we'll get some of those surprise ones in 2020 because so far there hasn't really been any. Thunderbird, messed up there. It's a lot of talking. Anyway, for Holiday World, I was hoping they get a new coaster because it seemed like they were really teasing for 2020, but instead they're getting a water coaster, which still looks pretty cool. And speaking of that, 2020 really seems like it's going to be a big year for water coasters. I mean, you're getting a massive, like, awesome launch water coaster that's going to Holiday World. It's going to be the third. And you're getting the tallest water coaster in the world, 86 feet tall, the one that's going to Six Flags Great America, which I think is an amazing addition, especially after Max Force. Plus, I'm sure there's going to be some other water coasters announced. And something of note I think is interesting is that the Schlitterbahn parks, which are like a major water park chain in America, were actually purchased by Cedar Fair. Of course, not the one that was in Kansas City because, well, there's been accidents there, and I don't think Cedar Fair wants any part of Schlitterbahn Kansas City, which makes total sense. But I think that'll be interesting to see that Cedar Fair, it's under the Platinum passes, that you can go to the Schlitterbahn water parks now too, which I think is really cool. I won't be getting a Sierra Fair pass though because those are wicked expensive, unfortunately. Instead, Six Flags season pass is so much better price, which I really, really appreciate. Anyway, so future channel updates. Yeah, I'll try to be doing some videos each week, a couple of videos a week. I think will be really fun. And since the summer has been a lot of just like vlogs or park experience videos or reacting about like new attractions coming in 2020, I think the fall, besides maybe doing like a Fright Fest video from Six Flags America and hopefully doing a video when I go to Nickelodeon Universe and American Dream Meadowlands, probably like Thanksgiving time. Besides those, I'll be doing a bit more of like the more like, like edited videos. For example, reviews. I can't wait to get back to doing park reviews. I'll finally be able to do the park futures videos again, which if you're new to my channel, I only did a couple of them a couple years back, but I thought they were a pretty fun video. And basically, it's where I say, like, I talk about a bunch of different types of new attractions for a certain park and say, in the next 5 years, how likely are these to come to the park? Instead of going like predicting specific years, because I feel like that's always going to be inaccurate. I think it's more interesting to just talk about if these are going to come in the near future or if they're not going to come. And those are fun videos. I hope to do some more for maybe even do another one for Six Flags America since it's been a few years. Hershey Park, Dorney Park, a lot of parks in the area, Kings Dominion. I think those would be fun to do, along with bringing back some other series and maybe even starting some new ones. I think it'll be really fun this fall. And I'm going to try to focus a bit more on the quality over quantity of my videos because I'm just not going to have as much output once school starts. But I want to make sure the output I do put in is going to be really good. And I hope you guys would enjoy that. So just look forward to seeing more POV videos, more park experience videos, maybe a couple of vlogs here and there, park and like new coaster analyses. I'm going to try to do more park walkarounds. I thought that was a pretty good success. I was pretty happy with the views for when I did a park walk around for Planet's Castaway Cove, which you don't know that park. It's a small boardwalk park with a pretty cool SNS launch coaster, Gale Force, in Ocean City, New Jersey. I basically walked around and showed all the major attractions in the park and the layout, so I hope to do more of those because I think they're a pretty cool video to get a better sense of the park instead of just doing like a personal experience, like a park experience video. So I plan to do one for Six Flags America because that's my home park. Maybe do one for Great Adventure also if I'm able to in time. And if I go to the American Dream Meadowlands Nickelodeon Universe, I'll do one there too because I think that'd be really fun to do more park walkarounds and just do some newer series that I haven't done as much recently. I think that'd be just a cool time. Maybe get back into a bit more like off-ride videos and just getting more into like shooting footage for parks. I think it'd be cool to do a bit more park footage instead of just doing mostly vlogs, to just do some like just showing off like a bit more cinematography. I think it'll be fun just showing a bit more like a visual scale of the parks. Let me know what you guys think of that and if you have any video suggestions in the live chat. But I have covered all of my major topics. So if there's anything you guys want to add in the chat to keep this live stream going, or if not, I'll probably just end it out here because I've talked about all the major topics. I've discussed my 2019 summer plans that I had and my park visits in a bit more detail. I talked about the future park visits I have for the rest of this year and potential ones for 2020. I talked about some channel updates that are going to happen in the future of my channel. Plus, I talked a bit more about the 2020 new rides and attractions that have been announced by major chains like Six Flags, Sierra Fair, SeaWorld, and some independent parks along with the foreign parks. So thank you guys for everybody who's tuned in to this live stream. Make sure to catch it if you haven't seen it. In retrospect, by now you would have already because you gotten through it. Very impressive. You got through 30 minutes of this. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. This is the Coast Craze signing off. Stay tuned for a very awesome POV video dropping very shortly, along with my Kennywood Park Experience video and a bunch more. So guys, thank you for watching. I appreciate everybody who tuned in to this park experience video. And this is the Coast Craze signing off. Goodbye.